A toast to the Sony Spider-Man Marvel characters universe, whatever they call it. Apparently this is the final run of its villain movies. We had Morbius, we had Madam Web, we had all three Venom movies and Kraven the Hunter, all of which are hot garbage. So hey, you came, you went, we saw, we cried, and we got mad. So farewell. That's some good H2O. Anyway, let's talk about Kraven the Hunter. Kraven the Hunter is directed by J.C. Chandor, and the plot of the movie is Kraven's complex relationship with his ruthless father starts him down a path of vengeance, motivating him to become not only the greatest hunter in the world, but also one of the most feared. So for all you casual Marvel fans, Kraven is a villain within the Spider-Man comics, one of the more iconic villains within his rogues gallery, and now we have a movie based on him. And like previous Sony Marvel villains like Venom, Madam Web, Morbius, it all falls into that same universe, which I do not enjoy whatsoever. I did not like Morbius. I did not like Madam Web. I do think the Venom movies are somewhat enjoyable, but I do feel like the third one that came out in October was just complete hot garbage. But at the same time, I was a bit optimistic for Kraven the Hunter. The trailers kind of sold me, and Aaron Taylor Johnson is a great actor and he has a lot of good movies coming up. But in this particular movie, after watching it, I didn't enjoy it at all. I do feel like it's very boring, very sluggish, very half-assed, and I gotta explain more. So let's talk about the story here for a second. I thought the first 20 minutes were very interesting, has a great sequence of Kraven escaping a prison, and then we go into a flashback of a younger Kraven with his younger brother and their father after their mother passed away. Really interesting setup and how he even runs away and starts his whole new life and becoming a hunter with some unique powers, even though at times there was a lot of exposition dumping, but I was kind of on board with everything. But after those 20 minutes, I do feel like things start really going off the rails where I don't even know where the story really develops or even just the character motivations. Everything just feels so rushed and we're getting introduced to so many villains that there's not enough time for everyone to breathe. Like there's a point in the film where I even forgot where the plot of this movie even goes to. Like there's really no payoff at the end, which is so odd because you have so many great villains involved, but there's just not enough development. Even Kraven himself, who was like the main protagonist, I just feel like there wasn't enough for me to care about him. As just, yeah, he's a badass, yeah, he kills people, he's known as the Hunter. Like people are scared of him, but there's not really given a reason why, except for that he has a hit list and he's just really good at his job, but there's just not enough screen time for us to really feel invested. Even when it comes to supporting characters like Ariana DeBose, who is a phenomenal actress coming off an Academy Award, I do feel like she gave the worst performance in this movie. Like the dialogue itself was just terrible, but she did not want to be involved whatsoever. I feel like she just signed in for a check and that was it, because you could literally just see her acting skills in this film and you could tell she did not want to be bothered. So when there's lack of chemistry within all these characters, it kind of just falls off and just feels so sluggish to the point where this 2-hour runtime starts feeling very, very long and boring. So at that point, I just thought, all right, the story is not interesting. The dialogue is just stupid and cheesy. Where else do we go here? I think the only positives that I could really think about are just the action sequences. I mean, like, I think they're really well directed and well put. I mean, there's a lot of blood for an R-rated movie, but at the same time, none of it just feels like it's earned or there's like any purpose towards it. You know, it wasn't like me going on the edge of my seat and being like, that was a cool kill. I just thought, okay, that's cool. Where do we go next? So when all the action sequences are done, we're just left with so much dialogue that just feels like a nothing burger. I will give some positivity to the costume department. I do feel like everyone looks their part. I mean, Rhino's in this movie, which you can see in the trailer. I do think this is the best description they could give him. He looked pretty fine to me. I know some people just did not like it, but it's way better than the Amazing Spider-Man 2 look. And sorry if I'm spoiling this, but Kraven's brother is the Chameleon. We do get a glimpse of his character look, which I thought looked pretty cool. So at least the movie had that going. And like traditional crappy comic book movies, Kraven does get his final Kraven comic accurate look at the end of the movie, which I am so tired of seeing that trope where at the end of the movie we finally get to see the character's true look. It kind of just feels repetitive at this point, but hey, Aaron Taylor Johnson is ripped and he looks great in that vest that his father gifted him, which, sorry for spoiling that too. It's just, again, this movie has nothing to go for. The story just doesn't work for me, and nor does it really work for the audience. I mean, if the story doesn't work, your dialogue isn't gonna work either, which is just pure cheesiness and laziness throughout this whole runtime of the film. And recording this on a Monday, Kraven the Hunter only made $11 million at the domestic box office for a budget of $110 million. So, you know, people just don't have interest in this movie because they were let down by previous Sony villain movies. So I don't know what Sony was thinking here when they made Kraven the Hunter. I do feel like no one wants to make a bad movie, and I feel like there was something in the first draft somewhere, but at the same time, when studios try to interfere with the movie and just go into the cutting room and just kind of like play Scrabble, it ends up just falling flat for just the filmmaker and the actors themselves, because the final product ends up being shit. You would think they would learn from their mistakes from previous villain movies, and none of those just don't work. Like, you know, Venom just didn't work, Madam Web didn't work, Morbius didn't work, so why couldn't Kraven work? Why couldn't we just make a solid villain movie? Especially when you're not even showing Spider-Man, the main character who is fighting these foes. There's just no correlation whatsoever with Spider-Man. They just want to make a villain movie just to maybe hold the rights of Sony villain movies. I don't know. Like, they should take a page off of DC Studios when they made the Penguin, a character that not a lot of people know, but you know what? They made a strong story and it got good word of mouth, and it ended up being probably my favorite show of the year. You actually made a villain so compelling with so much gravitas that it just translated so well. Like, I don't know what Sony thinks when they're trying to make a villain movie or even a TV show if they really wanted to. And if the reports are true that they are ending this Sony villain universe and they're trying to do like a hard reset, I hope in some miracle that they actually learn from their mistakes and actually start making really good, decent films about these villains, because there is a way to make it compelling. You just gotta put more heart and passion into it. So I really don't have anything else to say about Kraven the Hunter, because I really just forgot about this movie after watching it, because there's really nothing else good to say about or really even think about. Some people actually enjoyed this movie, which, hey, all the good power to you. I know some people even watch this film and actually laugh, not because it was funny, because they were laughing at the dialogue being presented. So yeah, you know, this movie is gonna probably do well in streaming, but it still just leaves a bad taste for a lot of people who were disappointed by these Sony villain movies. So unfortunately, my score for this movie is a 2 out of 5. It's not a high recommendation for me. You know, if you just want to see something that you could just turn off your brain and just kind of enjoy the action sequences, this may be for you, but I don't think there's enough substance in Kraven the Hunter for me or anyone else to actually just feel so invested when it comes to its story and any progression whatsoever with its characters. But I want to hear from you guys. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed Kraven the Hunter or if you disliked it like I did. Definitely leave your opinions down below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. And I do apologize if I sound a bit nasally in this video. I'm still getting off a really bad cold that I had for the past 2 weeks. But I'm feeling much better. Still have a few symptoms here and there, but I feel like I'm back on recovery mode and I can start really pumping out more videos. December is gonna be really interesting because I do have my top 10 favorite films of the year and my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025, with the addition of some movies that are coming out in the next 2 weeks. I cannot wait to see Sonic 3 and Nosferatu, and maybe some other films that might just slip in there as well before the year ends. So yeah, I appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.